Good morning, just a quick one this morning. I've come up to do a bit of picking actually. Oh, the parakeets are going crazy. I've come up to do a bit of picking. We've got a couple of courgettes to take, some beans. The cobra beans have just started pushing out beans now, so we're going to take them off. But the major thing that I'm going to do today is plant this little beauty. So huge thanks to Jimmy and his wife who have sent me a Taunton Dean kale cutting. And what a magnificent specimen that is. That's no piddler. That is absolutely gorgeous. But now, I don't know if you remember, this cage behind me that I built was originally meant to be the perennial brassica cage. So that's Taunton Dean kale. It was going to be the 9-star broccoli, the Asturian cabbage trees, and there were two others that I cannot currently remember what they were, but that's what I wanted in here. So it's going to be like the permanent stuff. Well, my 9-star died. My Asturian cabbage tree also died. I mean, I have seed for both the 9-star and the Asturian cabbage trees, but both sets that I've sown and got to kind of this sort of size, just sort of starting to get to the point where I'm thinking about planting them out, they've been just eaten off completely, like nothing left of them. So I'm a bit staggered with them. So what I ended up doing is in this bed, I thought I would make use of the cage, obviously, and just plant my non-perennial brassicas in there. Oh, there's a helicopter now. So in there at the moment, we've got a mixture of long season, but only single season brassicas. So we've got Brussels sprouts, we've got purple sprouting broccoli, that kind of thing. There are other bits and pieces in there, but I can't quite remember what they are at the moment. They are labelled. But basically it's just single season stuff. And now I find myself with one of my perennial brassicas, but it's completely full in there. But I do want to get this in. Luckily, I say luckily, it's like silver lining. 2 of the purple sprouting broccoli at this end, can you see this one and, oh, I'm not very good at this, this one here, have been just completely snailed. These wasn't even slugs, we actually found the snails on them, they're just gone straight off. So I'm going to dig one of them out and plant this in that spot. So we will have the first of the new wave of perennial brassicas in their correct cage. Excellent. Also, you know, I always plant my brassicas with lime because of the club root that we've got here. Well, I'm normally dribbling the lime out of the bottom of a bag with a hole in it, and I've upgraded to a coffee pot. So I'm quite excited about that. I don't have to kind of just dribble it now. Actually, I know, serious, huh? Oh, let's see if I can get in there a bit. So of the 2 that are gone, it's this one, and this one is goner of the 2, if you see what I mean. That looks like it's got the vaguest chance of recovery. This one not so much, but thinking that this is going to be in here for a good number of years, I think that's going to be too close to the edge, so it's that one that I'm going to replace. Oh, sun's come out. Yeah, so I just looked up on the app what I've actually got planted in there. So alongside my new Taunton Dean kale is actually Calabrese, which is like proper broccoli. I've got tender stem broccoli, which is going to be a nice tall one, you know, growing with lots and lots of little stems of broccoli, and I've got Brussels sprouts. Now, one of the Brussels sprouts has actually already been completely taken out and been replaced by another Brussels sprout, but a different variety. So we've got 2 varieties of Brussels sprouts in there. Right, what was I going to do? A bit of picking, I think. Oh, not only is it courgettes and beans, but we've got some pretty sexy looking dahlias that are going to come home with us today.
Hello, Lily. Hello, Blossom. What are you up to? Meow, meow.
What are those butterflies with the black and white stripes on the back of them when they...
They are moths, tiger moths, I think. Did you see one? It is much warmer than Good morning. It is another, actually, beautiful, bright, sunny day. It's just gorgeous. We have had a right run of magnificent weather. It's been gorgeous. At last, it feels like we've had an actual chunk. We've had some magical days, like really gorgeous days over the last couple of months, but then they've been interspersed with like rainy days. You know, it hasn't been a chunk, whereas we've had like 4 or 5 really, really nice days this week. But actually, we've been doing quite a lot of work at home, so as you know, the kitchen is progressing, but we're at that stage where obviously we had to chuck everything out of the kitchen or like ram it into other cupboards during the time that they were actually doing the work. And now we're in like this in-between level because we now have this happening. Yes, that is right. We have running water in the kitchen. It is, or it feels like a miracle. But they've got most of the stuff done. Obviously all the cupboards have been replaced and everything, but to match the colour of the new cabinets, they have to repaint the old cabinets. So we can't really refill everything. God, I'm having a right whinge. I'm really sorry. All I was trying to say was we've been having a clear out at home because we're trying to refill the cupboards, but we can't do it until they've started painting. So we've been kind of getting a lot of the rest of the junk that's stashed in the house away. And that's also included clearing up the front garden, which has just become a bit of a dumping ground because all the stuff from the kitchen has just been thrown out there. And it was getting ridiculous. Like you couldn't get into the front door because the trackless burnham was like, but then there's me, everyone in the house was like, cut it, it needs to be cut so we can get through. And I was just, but it's gonna flower any minute, you know. So we had to wait for it to flower and finish flowering because somebody didn't want to chop it before it had flowered. So yeah, that's what we did. And there is a fantastic scheme in Twickenham, like if you're local, and I think they are across London. I don't know about how much further afield they are, but it's called the Library of Things, and it is basically like a rental service, but the system works that you book the tool or the, I mean, it's just a vast range of things that you can borrow, and you book them and it's a really reasonable price, and then you just go to this centre where they all are, and there's like all these lockers, you scan your code and it pops open and you take your thing. In our case, it was a hedge trimmer, and you do the work that you need to do. So we had the hedge trimmer for the whole day. It was 12 quid. Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. And then when you go to take it back, you just scan your code again, a locker opens, you put it back in and done. So yeah, I'm well impressed with Library of Things. But anyway, it means that we've done a lot of work in the front garden. And I also finally got round to just chopping the front right back. I have to do it every sort of 5 years or so, and it feels so harsh chopping it all back, but we've done it. But it has left with us a lot of space in that front garden. And what I'm going to do is take home some of the spare tomatoes that we've got and just stick them in the front. Who knows? It's not the ideal place to grow them, but they're not doing anything. Like I've given all the rest of them away and we've got all of these spare ones. So they're going to go and live in our front garden. So I mustn't forget to take them home with me today. But yeah, as you can see, the list is fully populated. These are the things that I need to do. Probably won't get them all done today, but I will get some of them done. Most of it is planting out. We've got loads and loads of stuff in the greenhouse, which is just about ready to either be potted on or to actually go straight out into the beds. I've also got a bit of sowing to do. Direct sowing, chimney wrapper. Right. What am I going to do first though? I'm not going to do the potting on today because they can hold off for a little bit. I think it might be some planting out. Cleared a bed at the top, the one that had the potatoes in, that we dug all the potatoes out the other day, and but the bed is really poor, so I've got a whole load of bloodfish and bone to rake through that, and a bit of, you know, well rotted horse manure to stick in, and then I'm going to plant it into there. I think that's my first job. Plus that bed is in the shade at the moment, so that's a bit of a bonus because it is blooming hot. It's lovely. It is lovely. Right, loads of things to plant out, so I'm going to go and investigate what we got. Whew, it is warm in here. Okay, God, it's amazing how quick these things grow. Like I was in here, didn't come up yesterday. Yesterday was the front garden attack, but in fact, I might have a photo, but these are like twice as big. The lettuces twice as big. Anyway, what I've got to get out is I've got a load of Komatsuna, Kohl Rabi, spinach. Chicory needs to be potted on. I've got more. Oh, I've got Pak Choi. Fennel needs to be potted on. Chicory potted on. Purple sprouting broccoli potted on. But there is Kailan needs to go out. beetroot needs to go out, more chard needs to go out, and I've got a load of basil in here that wants to go and join the other exciting basils in the polytunnel. Plus I've got a load of green wave mustard that also needs to go out. So yeah, these are the poor tomatoes that are desperate to find a home, so they're coming home with me today. Sowed some spring onions day before yesterday, just had to get some more in because the spring onions are doing phenomenally well this year. It's absolutely fab, but we're on to like our third load, so they're coming up. I just showed the Ishikura ones. I've run out of Lilia, so I'm gonna have to pick some more of them up. Lilia's the pink one, Ishikura is the white one that we grow. What else have we got going on in here? Loads of lettuce that I need to find a home for. Yeah, this was exciting. Do you remember I sowed agretti? I did it twice. The first time absolutely nothing came up. So agretti is like, it's quite a bitter herb, but it's quite fleshy. It's an Italian thing. And it's kind of like a bitter, God, I don't even know how to describe it. It looks a little bit like samphire and it's quite fleshy, almost like a sedum. And look, one actually came up. I mean, I don't know how many I sowed. I must have sowed 100. But one is here and it's potted on, and I'm wildly excited about this. Little agretti. How delicious, like fried with butter and then just like tossed over some fish or something. Wonderful. Okay, who's going to go out first? I think the Pak Choi, Pak Choi and Komatsuna and the mustard greens might do really well in that top bed because they get early morning sun, but by the time we're at the absolute maximum heat, like now, it just starts coming over a little bit shady. So that might be a good choice for them because they do tend to bolt if they get too hot. Yes, if I'm planting them out, it means I need to put lime in the soil too. Okay, let's collect. Oh, what's this? Oh, the Minutina looks fab. Okay, so if I get Kailan, Kohl Rabi, Pak Choi and Komatsuna into that bed, I will be a happy runny babbit. Okie dokie, like I said, this is the bed that had the potatoes in it and it's really dusty. Like we hadn't mulched it the year before and so it needs a bit of help. But I can't do a massive like double layer of the soil improver horse manure that I normally put on as a mulch because then I can't plant through because these are little chaps. So what I'm going to do is a bit like what I did inside the brassica cage is lime it, give it a bit of blood, fish and bone, and then just put one bag of the horse manure on and work it in a little bit to the surface so that when I plant these chaps out, their roots are actually reaching the soil rather than just being in that loose layer on the top. But most of those things that I am sowing today, apart from the spinach, are all brassicas, and you know the issues that we have with brassicas, so I am liming this bed. There we go. I'll say that does seem to be working. The liming campaign that we're doing, every time we put a brassica in, putting a bit of lime either in the hole. Ooh, what's that? A peg. Either liming straight into the hole or liming the whole bed, like in this case. Really do think it is making a difference. We're having far less problems with clubroot. Obviously you saw it in the turnips like last week, but I hadn't limed them, you see. So that's what everything would look like. And actually, I mean, I don't want to say it too loud because, you know, the moment you're cocky about something. But yeah, I think we're making progress on it. Okay, that should do. Actually, this is interesting. I just went and bought this blood, fish and bone from the allotment shop earlier this morning. And I've only ever used blood, fish and bone in powdered form before. And this is pelleted. I know, fascinating, huh? Okay, so let's spread this out a bit more evenly than I would normally. Okay, first one I'm putting in is going to be the kohlrabi. These don't need to be that wildly spaced apart, about, what, 20 centimetres? I'm not going for like championship kohlrabi like this. I want them about just less than a cricket ball. So I don't need to give them a wild amount of space. Then it's going to be the Komatsuna, which is like a skinnier stemmed Pak Choi, like this. Now I know it's a little bit difficult to tell what these are supposed to look like, but these are the Komatsuna, so absolutely eaten. But in this one you can sort of see what I mean. It's Pak Choi-ish, but with a much more slender stem, and they're really, really tasty. It's a bit of a shame about the what happened to these guys. Hopefully the ones up there will be better protected. Then it's proper Pak Choi, which is the red Pak Choi, that really lovely petrol purple one that I grow every year, and I'm going to bung the spinach on that end. I think that's going to take up about 3/4 of this bed. And then at the very end I'm going to sow some chimney wrapper. It's really warm. Why I thought that bed was going to be in the shade, I've no idea. I mean, I thought it normally was, but maybe that's in like most of the year, just not like the middle of summer, because the trees normally, anyway. It wasn't in the shade, it was in the burning sun, and now I'm absolutely roasting. But it means we've got things to tick off on this list, and that little section that's left at the end of that bed is going to have chimney wrapper on it. Hold on one mo. Okie dokie, that is Komatsuna, Kohl Rabi, Pak Choi and spinach. Fantastico. And now you know how much I love a bit of chimney wrapper. This is not going to come as a surprise to anybody. But, oh now, where is it? Ah. I've tried quite a lot of the different ones. They tend to come in, rather than having variety names, they've got like, they're called 60 day, 90 day, 120 day, 40 day, how long between sowing and harvest. And now I'm incredibly lucky that Chris has been to Sicily recently. Now Chris sends me a lot of stuff, it's amazing, and his Mrs. Anne, right? He's bought me 3 chimney wrappers from Sicily. I know. So this is the 120, the 90 and the 60, and this is not a seed company that I've ever tried before. It's called Semi-Mel, and I'm going to get them in now. I don't know, I'm thinking I might actually do either the 60 or the 90 in that bed, because everything else that I've... Sorry, I'm melting. I just realised I've got like eyeliner dripping down my face. Haha, lovely, very fancy for YouTube. Oh yes, I am a glamour model. Right, yeah, because everything else that is in that bed is actually quite quick cropping. Like the spinach is going to be in and out in no time if it doesn't bolt. The Pak Choi, the Komatsuna and the Kohl Rabi are all quick ones. So it would be a bit silly to put the 120 in there, because then the bed isn't going to all come free at the same time. So I'm actually thinking maybe the 60. Go for the quick one in there. And then I'm going to find 2 other patches, because you don't need masses of it, and I'm going to succession sow. So Mum has been prepping the bed down here, so we might even put some in there. Yeah, right, we're going to go for 60. What I'm going to do is label this with 60 days and then put on my calendar when we should be expecting to be picking this. Because I always say 60, 90, 120 like this, and I've lost track immediately. So let's just flatten this out a bit. Actually, I've got the flattening out tool here. I love this little thing. This is a rake. Obviously, I'd be surprised if you didn't know it was a rake, but this was actually from a child's toy set that was being thrown out, and this was like red flaky paint, and it had all fallen apart and the handle had rotted, and I fixed it up, good old bit of hammerite on the end, re-screwed it to a new broom handle, and it is just the most perfect like little hand tool rake for doing right across the width of the bed. Okie dokie, let's get some of this in. I'm going to be quite sparse with my sowing because I often do this a little bit too densely, because actually they are quite decently sized plants, these. I have actually got some that have self-seeded from last year down there, so I'll show you what the seedlings look like. There we go, I think that is enough. So what did I say that was? The 60 day. Where are my labels? At the other end, of course. Okay. 60 day. Now I will just give that a little. So when does 60 days make it? I was just looking for my phone, but you are my phone, so I'm not going to have it in my back pocket, am I? 60 days, 2 months, August, end of September we should be eating this. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Actually, so this is one of those seed packets that doesn't have, can you see me? One of these seed packets that doesn't have an inner packet, but I have just bought a whole load of really snazzy crocodile clips at home to clip my seed packets together that are like that, so I will attempt not to spill them on my way home and attach them with a crocodile clip. Right, so this needs to be watered in now, and once it's watered in we're going to try and cover it. Actually, they're wilting at that end already, I better get that hose out on them. We're going to try and cover it. Now, obviously, this poor little beast just needs to be dismantled and got rid, and I'll probably be using the Enviromesh for making little tiny beds. But I think we really just need to keep the birds off these. So I think what we're going to do is, I don't know if you remember last year, I haven't used any of them yet this year for some unknown reason, but we've got all those black pipes. We're going to make up just a little low cover of this and cover it with netting to keep the birds off. If only netting kept the slugs off. Nothing keeps the slugs off. These little chaps, self-seeded Chimidirapa or turnip tops. Normally brassicas are pretty promiscuous and they very rarely get like true from collecting the seed unless you're quite careful about, you know, protecting properly, like collecting the seed for variety. But actually I've had quite a lot of luck with Chimidirapa self-seeding, totally by chance. Like often at the end of like Chimidirapa, when we've actually had our fill, just let it go because it's pretty and it comes at a time when there's not a great deal else flowering, so we just let them go. And yeah, we've had like quite a lot of success with it being self-seeded. So they're quite distinctive. They're like obviously turnip looking, but they're never going to produce a proper turnip from the bottom. And actually there's quite a few more coming up in here. Let me just see if I can like little chaps like this coming up. This will be the third generation of self-seeded in this bed. This is the old potato bed. I don't know if you can see. We haven't dug up this bed yet, but the potatoes are long died back, so we do need to take them out. But yeah, we have got little Chimidirapas in here, so hopefully we will be having Chimidirapa lunch sooner than that lot that I've just sown. Another little bit of show and tell. Let me show you how quickly the tomatoes have grown since we put them in the polytunnel. It's just like every time we come up here, they're like 2 inches taller, like day by day by day. They're looking great. Look at the size of them. Look at the size of them. So they are up to, well, above waist height. This is that's about my chest sort of height there. So yeah, and loads of flowers. Got flowers coming everywhere. The basil has really come on. I mean, look at this. I mean, we've got a little bit eaten, but look at that. So this is the lettuce leaf basil, the real fatty. This is the standard Genovese basil. We have the wonderful little purple small leaf basil. Lots more coming in under there. In the back there, we've got the Thai basil, looking gorge. So, like I said earlier, I've got more basil to put in here, but I first need to just give these another little twist up so that they stay attached to their strings, and give it a water because whew, it's warm in here. It is warm. Okay, I think that's probably going to be my next job, although it's blooming hot. Oh, I love that Thai basil. Along with my Taunton Dean kale arriving came a little bonus in there, which was a golden feverfew. I love the smell of golden feverfew. I used to do a garden years ago, and the lady had it all the way around the front of her patio. So when you're like rummaging around and, you know, sweeping leaves and stuff, it just brushed up against it, and the smell was so lovely. So yeah, I'm thrilled to have this little chap. It's going in the end of the bed where we've also got the caraway, the artichoke, and the frond fennel. So yeah, nice little collection. And the golden feverfew has joined the gang. Okay, well, other than a whole lot of watering, which is what we're going to be spending the rest of our time doing, miraculously I have actually remembered that I'm taking tomatoes home with me, so I'm going to choose 6, I think. We've probably got enough space for 6, and I need to remember to take 6 canes home with me. Then we're going to do a bit of watering and head off. I think we've got to do a barbecue. I say got to, that's nonsense. We don't have to do a barbecue this evening. We are doing a barbecue this evening, so we'll go and get things on marinading and all that kind of stuff. We've got a billion beans, salad, all that kind of stuff that needs processing. And I'm just going to go and laze around in the garden. I know, it is a tough life. But it's so beautiful up here. It is so lovely up here. Shame we're not having the barbecue up here, actually. Oh well, no, we're not having the barbecue up here because we don't have any of the barbecue accoutrement. I'm going to get the tomatoes. There we go. Right, you're coming home with me, chaps. Get 6 canes. So up until a couple of days ago, this was just like mounds. All of these things will come back. There's loads of Albrecia at the front here that's like been completely overshadowed by all these tumbling bushes, and it's like, yeah, so, but hopefully that will come back. But it does mean that temporarily we've got all this space in here. So Ingo, these tomatoes that are looking incredibly sad, I left them on the window ledge and they've been baking all morning, so I've just given them a water, but you know, oh dear. Anyway, let's get these in. Where are we going to put them? Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'll do. Also, this ground is about as poor as it's possible to get, so I've got some of that just normal, like country natural horse manure that I use up at the allotment, half a bag here, so I'm going to dig a bit of that into the hole, and then this will have a really, really big soak. In fact, I had the hose on this for like a good 2 hours the other day, so it should not be bone dry. No, it's all right actually, that's okay. Dig a bit of this in, and then I'll feed it regularly, which will also help all of these things grow back nicely. Right. But it's funny, this garden looks about, what, 5, 6 times bigger? It's always awkward filming outside, isn't it? So the varieties that I've actually chosen, I've got, that one is Green Doctor, which is the green cherry. This one is what? Oh, Japanese Black Trifeli. Nice. I mean, the thing is about these is that even if the plants grow, which would be great, it's likely that passers-by will just nick the tomatoes. You know what people are like. But it's better that they've got somewhere to grow than that they just die in those little pots in the greenhouse. This one over here is pork chop. And then we have Atomic Fusion.
Nice weather for it.
I was blooming boiling. I was hoping the shadow was going to come over here before I had to do this. Then we have the little Rebel Starfighter Prime going in the front here. And one more, which is Black Strawberry. Ouch. Ugh. Now I need a beer. Cheers, chaps. It's not quite a beer. I realised as I came staggering in from the heat outside, I was like, oh God, can really do with a beer. It's actually still morning. No beer. That's nice. Right, well, I can't believe that by the time we have the next video, it's going to be August. It's going to be August. It's crazy. Those tomatoes that I've just planted out in the front, whether or not they actually produce tomatoes is questionable. I mean, going in that size this late in the game, I don't know. I suppose it depends if we're going to have a beautiful, long, wonderful, extended summer into autumn, or whether it's going to hit like the end of September and just go pants again. And we won't know until it happens, will we? I think we deserve a lovely, long, hot end of the summer, don't we? We do. We deserve it. We do. Unfortunately, that's not the way it works though, is it? It's just not. Anyway, the other thing that I was going to show you was my new clips innovation for the seed packets. So you know I was talking about like when you have the seed packets that don't have an inner packet that you can kind of fold over and seal. So basically they're just a loose cannon. And I have never really worked out, it's something, a confession here, I've never really worked out how you open seed packets without, like if you're not planning to use all the seeds at the same time. I open them up a different way every time, which as you can imagine gets very confusing because there's no consistency. So like this one opened at the bottom, and then you've got these ones are just like ripped, like these ones just like ripped across the top. This one again just ripped. Anyway, I now have lovely little clips so I can fold them over and stick my crocodile clip on there. They're really handy, like they were super cheap. I've got absolutely masses of them, just like little, you know, crocodile clips, but they've got like the serrated bit there, so they actually grip the seed packet. And I think it's going to change my life in the sense that the bottom of each of my seed trays, my seed drawers, sorry, these things, are not going to be just full of loose seed anymore. Unidentified loose seed. So yeah, I am now a seed packet clipper. If you also have deep problems with opening seed packets in a civilized manner, I will put a link to the clips underneath. They were very cheap. But that, chaps, is the end of this week. We got more done than I thought we were going to because we ended up doing so much stuff here at the house. We're also having the shed roof fixed at the moment, which has meant poor Hallie's been like locked upstairs because the guys have been coming in and out because the shed roof was just a complete disaster. So yeah, it's, I say shed, it's not just like not like a shed like at the allotment, like as a proper building at the back of our garden, and the roof has been leaking for a very long time and it's just got worse and worse and worse. So we finally bit the bullet. But it does mean that it's just been total chaos here. So the fact that we got 2 days in at the allotment, I'm pretty pleased with. Hopefully next week we'll be doing a lot more. Cheers to my Patreons, as always, the people who keep this channel alive and kicking. And cheers to everybody else. I hope you're getting a bit of this nice weather. I'm going to try and find a time to go down and see Johanna's garden, actually. She's coming up on Friday. So I might see if I can arrange for us to go down there and have a look what she's got going on, because I have not been down to Johanna's house since Christmas. So I don't even know what she's got going on in the garden. And I've got a mass of things to give her. I've got all that minutina and bits and pieces. So yeah, maybe we'll go on a trip. Cheers, chaps. I'll see you next week.